Vacation continues. Or in previously. We began to add victories.
Welcome to Books for Less, the one-stop shop for all your literary needs.
Welcome to Books of War. As this is also the day that affiliate subscriptions roll out, so those exist now. New noises, new numbers. So, we began our counter-imperialist wars and have covered quite a bit of ground. This will provide 4 out of 5 subordinate republics that we'll be able to create out of the hands of the colonial oppressors. We're just waiting on Zaire to finish sorting itself out, and then that will join our ranks. And then, meanwhile, fighting has proceeded pretty apace thus far. Look at the big board here. We've sustained pretty manageable losses thus far. That manpower is low, but we've also not yet kicked up service by requirement for draft level, so we're pretty okay there. Meanwhile, we've been inflicting our share of damage. Successfully pulled off several maneuvers against the enemy. The remains of some of which are still here on the field, as we have several pocketed stacks of allied soldiers that are waiting to get kicked over. But yes, as far as big strategic moves for the land part of things, we reached the Sahara, properly split the attentions of our armies, where we have the one side that will be heading down the Nile up to Egypt, the other that will be heading across the coast to secure the rest of the Sub-Sahara. And with it, gather more materials, more industries, more people, to unite in eventual counter-imperial, counter-colonial counter-attacks against other continents. Tiny first scraps of a navy with this little destroyer squadron under this guy who was here all along. That guy. We're just continuing to make steady progress. For now, Italy is not yet on the block, so this is all quiet, neutral ground that we can leave aside for the moment. We'll get to you later, for a couple of reasons. For the moment, to-do list. Soon. Later, eventually. Oh yeah, let's see, we also got all of our recruiting done. The army is near the full size that I envision it as being for war fighting. Aside from an open-ended need for always more beach garrisons to guard our various ports, and our buddy Kruger, that we got one chance to go out for a drive, is still woefully under-equipped. He's got just the 2 mobile attack units, and eventually we'll give him more of an army. Buddy Dirk. And yeah, as you can see, just at a glance here, we have probably destroyed most of the soldiers that the Allies were willing to spare to come try and resist us. They are in less than great standing, but with having been on the receiving end of the rest of the world wars, which to review, as of this point, there is an Italian-Greek war, which pits the Pact of Rome against the Comintern. Italy v. Russia, held back by there not yet being like a major land front to connect them. Particulars of how the lines are drawn right now. There is the German-Dutch War, which is between the Axis, led by Germany, and the Allies, such as they are, who, this number here, that's a big part of why they have not been able to spend this number over here, as I compensate for the ongoing fact that the cursor remains misaligned here on this machine. Mysteries of space and time with regard to capture. No, this number here, as I compensate briefly, my cursor is actually pointing at, like, at the end of the words German-Dutch War is corresponding to over here. the mysteries of space and time. But yes, so that number is a great part of why we're probably having a pretty alright time. There's our war. Nominally us v Belgium, having escalated from us v Portugal, but it is us v rest of the Allies. Assisted by our many good buddies of Democratic People's Republic of Angola, Republic of Mozambique, Zimbabwean Republic, and Republic of Kenya. 4 out of 5. It will be joined by whichever name ends up on Zaire when it pops out there under our alignment. What did it get on then? Yeah, over here, Zaire. That is one of the names it can have. Many names by various ideologies that could be in control of it. And then down here, the Soviet-Polish War, ongoing. Probably, yeah, on the verge of not being ongoing. Probably soon to deliver us a different, other, more land-heavy World War. Good times waiting. For which, so let's see, production-wise, we're in everything debt, but manageable amounts thereof. Especially since we've gotten through the worst of the land fighting that we've seen. Got plenty of tank, got spare aircraft. The Allies haven't really tried to throw an air force against us too hard. Safe on that front. Verge of capturing some additional resources and some good strategic positioning from which to start contemplating doing a violence that way, or feeling more safe about doing violence and commerce into the east. Industry-wise, we are actually going to want to start getting more boatyard soon. We will need a navy in order to go places and deal with people on their own shores. That's an eventuality. For now, let's just continue to scramble to de-scramble Africa. Get our share of it. Probably, yeah, next political pick, I will relent and go for service spot requirement. A little bit of time to flow. We're about to get the Q Core, which is going to give me research bonuses on a bunch of logistical stuff. That'll help make it even easier for us to field reasonable armies despite the lack of good railways. Then after all of that is settled, I might for a while pop our focus over into suppression mode there. To start the long, slow process of integrating our puppets more heavily. Get exclusive use of all that. You're fully disorganized. You're ready to pop. Give them a stiff punch. They don't even show up to their own battle. They're gone. Left alone like this, they would eventually also bleed out all of their manpower. Would rather free up the divisions that are babysitting them to go continue to conduct the war. So let's do that. Kruger, you're going for a ride. Congratulations, we're giving you the keys to the future. Left off, having just entered Nigeria, and with the level of resistance the Allies have been asked to offer against us, I think we'll be able to just walk through to the other side of it, at least, before they send in any new soldiers. Start walking up the coast here. temporarily leave a couple of guys back here guarding Port Sudan. Eventually replaced once we have an abundance of just garrison folk. But yeah, no resistance. Just sound the general advance. Just get going. Forward, together, victory, etc. Those for when it's time to cash them in. Most part, particularly in this state, they can't move right now. Do not have options. He's going to want the long way around here. They're to cut off these two from the harbor. For focus. Here. Warrior research, sub-research. Choice of more forts or doctrine and transport research, port tech. You can leave a bunch of these behind for the moment. Now, let's get integrating. Review for each of our folks here. We have a bar, 1,000 points, where they started at around the 500 mark. Work them down to 0 in order to take a step deeper into integration. Where each step we take, we will be entitled to more of their stuff. Firm up our control of the republics, and let's see, I did remember to start lending weapons at you guys, right? Yes. They just haven't gotten their first delivery yet. Each of the subordinate republics is being granted 5% of all rifles we manufacture. Eventually, a quarter of all rifle go to our small friends. Among the good times rolling is that as we make our way up here, there's actually a decent amount of industry up in Egypt, and then also Syria itself will have a couple of factories. Ghana, Liberia especially, well, they've stayed neutral in this, but we could work out an argument for decolonizing them as well. But you can see here, it's a single state, minor country. They have done their focus tree and gotten a bunch of free industry. They're going to be quite a prize, and also that illustrates why I'm going with the subordinate republics at all, because they're going to be able to do that for themselves, just each of them. And so generate a whole bunch of stuff that wouldn't be there before, just on local political initiative. Brag into the fold. Done. Look at Kruger go. Just having the time of his life. If we're lucky enough to not face any other allied divisions, Kruger may be able to just drive all the way down to Senegal. Heading into Egypt. That should provoke the RAF into giving us a good. That's starting to get into people's personal space. Put one of our wings of aircraft out here. They'll do what they can. Only be able to do so much to stop the advance of freedom. Some of our mountaineers have one, at least, anti-aircraft gun. One or no anti-aircraft weapons.
Welcome to Books for Less, the one-stop shop for all your literary needs.
Indeed, welcome to Books. That number hasn't updated. It probably will have some trouble updated. People have been saying the system is flooded on that front. It being the first day of the rollout of a lot of service. Such are the mysteries. There's a thing I plan to do with subscriptions, notification, icon-wise, and so forth. To be implemented in the times after vacation. For now, enjoy Vacation Placeholder, limited edition. Only an as-yet undetermined number of these notifications will be made. Secure yours now, for victory. And there we go. There's our new republic. Number 5, last of the set. For which we received South African Congo. For which we have received, apparently there's just no portrait for this man. This mystery leader, this ghost. Not even one of the generics, just we assure you, you have a president now. It's been assigned to you. After the free and fair election which occurred, closely monitored by the Freedom Guard. Here's your 5% ration of rifles. Use them wisely. Now, Ethiopia is not part of our set of republics. It does exist there, but it's not going to get special liberation events. These 5 are attached specifically to the African People's Union focus and event chain and so forth. Cores for several other African nations exist. Ethiopia, Botswana down here. Cores for anybody over here yet? Nope. Korea is its own thing right away, naturally. Oddly, Morocco does not exist as a releasable at this time. Or Algeria, or Tunisia. Libya does. Libya can receive all the stuff along there. Egypt exists. Both in Israel and Palestine that can be released. Syria is here. Iraq actually still exists right now. It hasn't been taken over by anybody. You know what? might be some removables within Turkish borders. Nope, not yet. Still as yet unassigned. There's an Armenia up here inside of Soviet territory. Azerbaijan, Georgia. Way up there are Ukraine. It's one of those aspects of the game that they gradually fill in the content for it over the course of its many-year life cycle. And we got them a shadow president. It's better than a regular president. Secure the good shit. Whatever industry they've set up in Cairo. Alexandria has its own state with more industry. Over there but people, and we're also getting to lower population densities once we enter the Middle East. One to science right now. Only 42, so not the industry yet. Let's dream. Let's ambition. All you stragglers, railway up here. Just get them. Don't march. You're not in a combat zone anymore. Really need to cover the ground. You guys are gonna cash in. A lot of them seem to be hesitant to engage strategic move. Don't. Get up there. While we finish the job. Very good, buddy Kruger. And let's see here, they are allegedly coming after us a bit in the Sub-Sahara air zone. I'm not seeing whatever aircraft they have. Maybe it's kind of phantom air control? Like, so one of the adjustments to mechanics they made is that anti-aircraft guns on the ground assert a bit of influence into the sky. Interact with the plane mechanics and the area control stuff that happens up there. Skywards. Perhaps as a result of that, they're like ghost planes. Need to scrounge up a factory office somewhere. He's off there, so that I continue to produce bombers. Save myself some steel. Resource spread. Yes. Get my tungsten, no questions asked. There it is. Slow down integration a smidge, but that's fine. Another thing I want to keep in mind as we're going along here, you have to keep track of this Spain, because they could go on to betray us at any time. You can note here that they've sent volunteers to fight aside the Allies. They are in fact a blue-leaning red Spain. Or perhaps trying to be. Oh, the mysteries, and what do you know? Things are going that poorly for Britain. I am my aircraft designer. So let me go ahead and research some birds. The way things are going, I think we could do Tier 3 aircraft. Could go that far. We are reaching Cairo, facing no resistance for it. Sun perhaps less than high on the Empire, and oh, that's gonna be convenient. Turkey is still neutral. Oh no, beyond their axis. Their axis and didn't invade French Syria? Weird. Maybe they were called into the war. Maybe they're the lazy, non-observing Axis member. The idle Axis is anyway the main concern. But sometimes Turkey goes allied, in which case it would then have to continue fighting quite a ways up. But as you can see, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Turkey are all currently uninvolved in our world war. None of this is guarded. This army can march up the coast, clear all of this, and then East Front. There it is. We did it. Until such time as I attack the Italians in order to cross Libya and go decolonize the north. Be especially important because there's more steel up here. I want that steel. Cut him off. It's good to see several of the republics starting to get their local militia set up. Much needed backup to handle coast guarding. will keep working on air doctrine, but also, so... I'm gonna ambition to have a carrier group for my navy. I'm not gonna settle for just gunboatery. If we're going to become a mighty world counter-empire, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna have force projection. We're gonna go places and do things, and that means having naval aviation, which means for naval aviation on a budget, I want to decide what I have to do right now. I don't want to go torpedo bomber for more anti-boat, or dive bomber for general purpose, and also do ground support. Either a boat fight, or I think I'll go. Or whatever, Blackburn Squaw. Squaw? Let's. Meanwhile, just in the back corner there, Alexandria fell. I'm a small coast guard out of this island. With the land grabbing. Or materials out here, just people and industry waiting to be secured. It's unfortunate that we don't have a way to generally release occupied countries into puppet governments as a mechanic yet. Because, yeah, there's a lot of cores out here that I could use to create local administrations. Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt itself would cover quite a bit. The long Egypt that also contains Sudan. Colonial Egypt. Convoy rating. Receiving convoy rating. The bad kind, where Allied submarines continue to harass our innocent merchant shipping. We have various overseas imports that we need. No domestic source of aluminum that does not despise us. Synthesizing our own rubber. Current need for additional steel. It has to come from overseas. Well, eventually, if we make contact with the Turks, we could also import things from the Turks. They have some export material. Construction queue, I was working on some harbors throughout our territory, and then what else could I get on? Additional industry I'd build would either be in the subordinate republics or in occupied territory, which that's low priority. Can't think of that as quite proper industry. Or field air bases that we have covered, especially in here, in the center. This Central Africa is an air zone, and even after we have hold of most of the continent, the British will be able to get at that with strategic bombers from, say, Yemen. They would use that to harass the not non-existent potential for industry that exists in the interior here. Harm our infrastructure and so forth, so just as well create some airports to put a stop to that. I'm building airports in public territory. I can put an airport in the Sahara even though I can't walk into the Sahara. Would build railways in the Sahara even though I can't walk into the Sahara. Interesting academically. They have stated that eventually they're probably going to put in some manner of mechanic to enable your ability to cross the red lines. At some point, you invent a way to tame the desert. Or the extreme mountains in the case of the other red lines out east. Western Mountaineers, there's your goal. Good luck. Have at it. Go together. Go for victory. You're now trapped. Two more imperialist divisions, waiting to perish in the depths. A friendly Coast Guard. Review the general state of the war. Looking at the bigger picture elsewhere, it seems to be that the British managed to get a lot of their army murdered. The Germans or other hostiles. Well, and doing anything else yet, military-wise? Are they still... Right, they're fighting the Russians. To the extent that anyone fights anyone across the Siberian border. State of things, the Allies are quite severely worn down. In no state to resist me. Oh, the moves are getting done. You're at a pretty healthy air base here in Cairo. And another one right next to it in Alexandria. Probably this is a good place to having a radar station. All quiet. And let's see, check out some other things. Making just shy of 2 months per boat. Which just continue to just very slowly build up this raiding squadron. 3 of you will stay here and babysit these captured imperialists. Go for a ride. The rest of you just get the general go-ahead. March. Just go. Have yourselves the greatest trek. Get walking, don't stop. Let's see, Nigeria keeps a bit of natural rubber and 1 civilian factory. A lot of unused slots throughout our occupation zone here. Bit of a drawback of starting the crusade as early as we did. No regrets, we struck when the iron was hot. But the longer the campaign goes on, the more the AI will be willing to just fill in the gaps in miscellaneous territory into a whole bunch of free stuff to take off them later. That'll lend us some degree of security. And just a smidge of frustration that we don't have a cavalry template. I suppose I could create one from scratch. That is always an option, where the intent here is this will be a police unit to install just purely occupied ground. Doesn't need much in the way of manpower to get that done. But let's see, where's the suppression rating? 4 already. Cavalry adding 2 more points. I'll hold off on that. Also, the number of harbors that we need to guard, it looks like so far, just having Coast Guard units is doing enough. Coast Guards and then just handling the territory gently. non-aggression with the Italians right now? They have agreed to that at some point. No, I haven't, so... What did I draw? In a hypothetical front line against them. For training purposes, I assure you. Remarkably convincing simulation of being decolonized. No, we don't non-aggress anybody. Make no promises with regards to aggression. Also, speaking of which, minded by seeing that, America. Just shy of a quarter red now. Oh, we have run into one French division. Gonna just hint of resistance. They're interrupting Kruger's ride.
Welcome to Books for Less, the one-stop shop for all your literary needs.
Welcome. Books. I was busy trudging across the savannah. Other important thing about closing up these fronts smoothly is the moment the army manages to settle in somewhere, we can start refilling our equipment backlog. Fill the equipment backlog, that frees up industry. Facilitate future ambitions. Overall, compared to the route planning test game that I also had running, we're like 3 years ahead of schedule right now. Things are quite alright. don't have an airport close to the current action. Get one. It might be ready by the time the fighting is heating up here. We'll need a couple of weeks to actually get the harbor surrounded. Kruger, don't worry yourself about it. You take the long way around. You go out into the field and enjoy yourself, Kruger.
Beep.
But everything else, a standard beep. Protecting you, library. Lend equipment to the Dutch and the New Zealanders, traitor. Friend of empires. No true freedom here. Tell Red Team to calm down a bit. The whole point of this is you don't have to do anything, just sit back and watch. They solve themselves. They'll take a while to occupy this consolidated swath of West Africa. No resistance in the Mideast. Maybe that, there we go. Limitations of the interface. I can now prop up a couple of soldiers on the Italian border. Have a team ready to conduct maneuvers should it be necessary. attention will be split between things out here, getting ready to move against the Italians. I mean, we could also try to decolonize the Middle East. I'd call that a second string priority until such time as any of the officials out here might decide to throw their hat in with the oppressors, in which case they join the enemy. Until then, we don't offer any comment. Perhaps they can be reasoned with. Brings my attention for management this way. You aren't going anywhere. Some of you are staying on the attack. Many more group up around this harbor and be ready to bust some heads. Airport goes online shortly. Because these are available. Is available in a couple of days. Slide them over. All of these attach you to the harbor. Prepare for the attack. The rest of you move on. And hello there. Sufficient drafting. Already had a bunch of these queued up. Now re-establish the last 8. This, I expect, would be the main border to stock out here. Since if we do attack the Italians, it will bring the rest of the Axis, so there's going to be some rough fighting along there. Kill ratios are staying healthy. Someday they'll be avenged. Both sending sternly worded letters to the Reich. Followed by the most sternly worded letter of war. The Germany attack. That's an America attacking Germany. Though it is not yet an America joining... It's about to be an America joining the Allies. We're about to be at war with America, probably. Soon. There it goes. Welcome to hell. And all of you hurry up and seize all of the ground. Kruger, drive the hell out there and secure far flowing of Imperial ports. Otherwise, an America worth of war material is about to arrive. Kruger, how are you still here when I gave you the order to drive out so long ago? You all may as well attack this harbor. Have the firepower, you have air support. Keep this out of the equation. At least the mid-east front is reasonably secure. This is a bit of a soft spot right now. And I was importing a bunch of war material from America, so I need a new supplier of that. Not great. I'm now considered to have land connections to the Soviet Union. Never mind, all war material is accounted for. Be it noted that in doing this, we are not recognizing any legitimacy. Your particular ideological sub-leanings with respect to the workers. Free French capital is now in Corsica. Looking good, France. We don't agree with anything you say. We would just like a lot of metal bars delivered in a timely fashion. We will pay you in things. Can't import anymore. You guys bleeding out. Really have some tiny scrap of local supply that's keeping you alive. It'd be tougher than expected to dislodge here. Hold off. Let's coordinate some more bodies. The very farthest reaches. Main attack there, and those are all still managing to. They'll hit the shore eventually. Hopefully before Patton shows up. Do it, Kruger. Drive for freedom. Don't have anyone standing there, strictly speaking. Have somebody on each side of the Suez. Yeah, it's a whole new counter-imperial ball game now. Hi, Portuguese cowboy, what are you doing out here? Starving to death, hopefully. All necessary measures to catch up. Alright, never mind. I'll let that one. Put that straggler territory. You ship up. A harbor here. There in Gambia, and a harbor here. Not on this sliver in between. Barely out of ports to do. Kruger. We need Kruger. What? How are you so stuck? Kruger. The Turks would like to send us aid. Turks would like to send not sure what the M38 is, but that sounds like a red. What do you want to... I'll take them, figure out what they are later. That's a good sign. What precisely is this thing Turks are willing to send us? Ah, just basic weaponry. That's their standard rifle. Alright. Acceptable. We have uses for gun. Your tank, a train. Get you somewhere nice. weird that the planner doesn't seem to want to use, or the AI doesn't seem to want to use strategic moves. Then being compounded by how bad the poor infrastructure and weird even have gun. On the verge of locking down all of the harbors. Oddly enough, this has become the largest sticking point. Two well-armed Imperial infantry divisions dug in decent terrain, not have the tools to deal with that, and these assholes still aren't bleeding to death. What is your problem? Where is the malaria? Air Force. Cluster camp here. Get a good long-term bet. Or to get better at boat aircraft. Unless that means specifically naval bombers, in which case we've opted out of him. That'd be Wienberg. Okay, one down, dig in. This is your home now. We found a tiny bit of domestic steel. A little bit out of Seneca. Oh, buddy, where do you think you're going? You are part of this team. Together, all have the very important job of taking out that harbor before it becomes a problem. Do not want problem harbors. Disrupting our counter-imperial efforts. We continue to live in the wonderful world, just having a full year of equipment debt. All these hundreds of days of back into a harbor, you asshole. Gatekeep, where do you think you're taking this important objective? Right over here. Tell this the most important number. Kruger, there's your plan. Ruin him. At least these Portuguese cavalry are very soft. Any of our Republic friends are floating at around 420 on the scale. Nice. Alright, so now I have this hellscape of 3 adjacent harbors. Cover all of them. There. Here. All of you on this line. We'll clean up the remaining terrain behind you. The teams that attack each of the other harbors take responsibility for garrisoning them, at least at first. I'm also gonna have to like distribute soldiers. Yeah, I can probably make a decent response force out of them if I spread them out right. Given that this is the conclusion of the West Front until such time as I invade a new continent and Kenya! Kenya, you should have said something. Kenya. Fortunately, they are taking attrition. But yeah, we gotta be on the lookout for... All manner of opposing forces will try to probe our defenses by landing little raids like this. Then eventually someone will actually orchestrate the proper big quality invasion. Many soldiers who know what the hell they're doing. We'll be back here. If the Turks are going to play nice with me, I might want to encourage that behavior. Reward their willingness to do that. Finish the job. Oh, survive. In fact, these folks are doomed. Won't be going anywhere. I need to keep many problems. If a naval invasion starts getting planned against your territory, there are warnings, sirens, and icons that appear for that. Apparently, I don't get those sirens if the invasion is being planned against my puppets. That's not great. That's something I'll have to work with. How ambitious is my patrol sound right now? There, because there are many, many boats being used to assert that. That is the other thing regarding invasions. If I'm able to actually get a strong coastal navy going, I can prevent invasions by preventing the enemy boats from approaching my shores for fear of their lives. Ah, victory in Lagos. Yeah, Lagos for a while. Victory over here in Africa. Clap down. Garrison there. Yep, soldiers to join that line. When this is done, Dirk will also be free. Our buddy Kruger will be free to wander around the countryside, doing good deeds, singing songs, responding to hostile incursions into our territory as a mobile reaction force. Friend to all, Dirk Kruger. Ah, victory over here in Freetown as well. Over here, Someone may have out of the corner of their eye seen these folks and thought they saw Americans. No, they saw Liberians. The flag is just the American flag, but with one big star. Not America. And as of this point in this run, they are not like a subjected puppet of America. They just spun off into an independent country, who I may have to secure as a strategic asset. Yeah, these guys are dug in good. How are you surviving? What is your deal? Badio, tell me your secrets. How have you learned to survive in the jungle? Not normally what happens. You over there. Win this siege. Guys who just won here, you need to garrison Freetown. Going and garrisoning Freetown. I see where all the bodies shake out. Determine who, if anyone, needs to be ready to attack Liberia. That's a good number. But all this helpful number that could be applied to the cause. Cure that number against foreign tyranny. Domestic tyranny only. Going to be moving that far. Take the train. Nice, comfortable, not air-conditioned because we haven't quite invented that yet, maybe? I'm not sure. We don't have active climate control of that caliber, but, you know, shaded. There might be nice fans going. It will serve beverages on the train. There's mosquito netting on the train. Alright, so with those maneuvers concluded, I will not aggress you, Turk. Maneuvers concluded that the land war portion of the counter-imperial crusade, as it is currently understood, brought to a close. We've secured all contiguous hostile Euro territory. Italy remains on hold. This is not the right time to go after Italy. Not with America now potentially breathing down our throats. How do you like the weather? does rightly point out that if you look at the map, we're basically the. Are you sure there is a border here? I think this is all just the same country. Damascus. Damascus and maybe Jordan. God, I may have to start developing occupation cavalry. Hey, a boat fight. Which we know little, healing. It's a boat fight. Get that radar set up. Trim some of the fat off of the production queue here. Stuff that got scheduled, but very clearly never turned out to be necessary. Radar started, bunch of airports. Finish this level of Cape Harbor, and then I can put the next layers of it on hold for a while. Waiting on our next concentrated industry tech until we can put the home front in its final form. The right time to attack the Italians is 1, when we have our weaponry restocked, and 2, when the Russians break through somewhere and put a knife to Benny's throat. Still Benny in charge. Numbers look for that ongoing. Russia spent a lot of bodies fighting Poland. Nice. Nice, fearsome tooth and nail resistance, fighting for survival against a foreign invader. So...
Beep.
welcome. Russo-Greek, or yeah, Italian-Greek. Greco-Italian, that's the war that escalated into... for one there. Got left plenty, apparently, yeah. Have a Russia and put together Russian naval capacity, but yeah, you put together the means by which to fund them, whereas, let's see, Ben does not have guys. Ben has a reserve. Ben has a puppet China to lean on. Germans holding up. Of up to 10 million bodies, although they've hit the point of all adults serving. Sizable military industry and field army active. Britain, out of men, but only at limited conscription right now. They could still try to escalate further. Really finished Kruger's run. That leaves you guys. At half strength there. I don't think they're getting reinforcements, but they're managing to not suffer damage. It's weird. We got our air support based as close as we could ever hope to get them. Faster, you guys nearly out of it. Oh, here we are. 500,000 reserve men with boat fight. Boat fight in the channel. Fight that might be, yes, an actual boat fight. Our destroyers have caught some submarines. So yeah, 500,000 in the bank. 38 industry that we've stabilized at. For all our marching around, we only captured 5 civilian factories out of all of our occupation. We've overrun a very underdeveloped Africa. Experience in each category. Political power is there. I could free up some of that by ceasing to our ideology drift, which might be wise. There's always the possibility of trying to launch yet another coup, but I used coups in all of my other cards campaigns. Dream-wise, I want to try something else. I want to win the fight as a brawl, even if it becomes a horrible, nightmarish, forever war. If we must become the African conflict zone, then I'd call that a feature. That's at least variety. Keep trying to flip Arabia and Iraq. Those would be valuable allies. Han is neutral. Or indeed, they've both been assigned the same generic leader portrait. Likewise, Iran, also neutral. The face of neutrality in the Middle East. We'll get some more industry once I'm able to hit the threshold. Integrated puppet status. That is a ways off, right? Naval battle. Watching this skirmish. Boat v underboat. Destroyer type 1s. By Halifax. All of the vessels have very raw crews. And full of submarines. He's proven in that it can hunt subs. If we wind up defeated, there would be a peace conference to sort out where the victorious empires would likely repartition us. Subject territories. So they'd have to spend their points to do it at the negotiating table. might enter combat range of each other any day now. Decide where I'm going to keep Kruger. Where we might need rapid response the most would be out here on the frontier. You know what, the whole point of him is that he's mobile. We'll send him wherever he needs to be. For example, ship him over to Kenya to put out this fire. Fire that's already in the process of burning itself out, but Kruger can help. Kruger's a helper. Kruger's a good neighbor. Kruger could have twice as many units under his command if he weren't being held up by a shortage of rifles and AA guns. Sure. I mean, if we have the vehicles on hand, that's the important part. That's what defines being a mobile combat unit. Alright, that's a lot of submarines. Our helpful squadron. Rybeck. Good Hope. The Natal, the Transvaal, the Swale. There's that. The Reichstag? Anyway, the fighting is open. Bullets are exchanged. Alright, a fine skirmish. One French sub destroyed. Two others heavily damaged. Convoy and our squadron completely unharmed. Good fighting, good boats. What are we still importing that is being shipped, if anything? Would like to eliminate all such imports, if possible. Thought we were done with them. Oh, this is a supply convoy. Running supplies up to Alexandria. Rather than doing an overland across the entirety of Africa, willing to make a convoy to ship up here to our Mideast holdings. Understandable. And if it lures French submarines into fighting our destroyers and getting carved up, that's alright. That's a trade. How often are we able to replace convoys? We're making almost 3 a month. See how much damage we sustain. Also, how much of a French Navy even exists? Around 80 vessels, which are irreplaceable due to a complete lack of French shipyards. French boat we take down is just a permanent gain. to pile up and get ready to dislodge final holdouts. Mystery soldiers who just manage to acclimatize themselves. Portuguese who become one with the jungle. Your friend is here to help you. Think about all that equipment that our puppets are trying to... Alright, so there's a convoy lost. Raiders in the Red Sea, but we have no boats out there to try and contest that. No real reasonable way to put boats out there. Had boats stationed out here, they'd probably be getting harassed by Allied aircraft while resting in harbor. We're nearly done our land doctrine. Here enough that I'm willing to wander over here and invest in some boat chassis. A full research spread here in June of 42. Devoted ingredients we will need. Let's see, yeah, 80 days. Another 160. Figure out the Spitfire. Might haven't spent this pair of focuses for discounts on plane designs. Could take a break from integration to improve the bees. Techniques. Way down here, because then I also get half off on a close air support. Some kind, which, in retrospect, that'd be the Typhoon would have been the best place to spend that in our current plan of 40s aircraft. Plus I hold out for getting Fireflies and Sea Furies. I'll be in the bank. We can upgrade things later, eventually. Maybe, if we survive long enough to have carriers as a thing. No, not the skirmish with submarines. Thinking about it now. My only convoys are over here. I think the range on these destroyers is good enough that if I based them in Mozambique or in Kenya, be able to cover almost all of the path. Worth considering. Don't have any convoys out here in the Gulf. If I remove that zone, I can extend their patrol farther east. About all the equipment that we're sending into the republics is eventually, when we re-annex them, we'll get all the stuff back. either they'll have spent it building soldiers who we will then have, or they'll have kept it in a pile in a warehouse, and then we'll have the warehouse. Rifles aren't going away, they're going into storage. It's an investment. Insecurity. Also see here. Oh, they have all that industry and they haven't even started on their focuses yet. Was that handful of productive capacity, including 4 boatyards in Belgian Congo beforehand. I only hope that our goodly republics do manage to hit all of their bases in turn. Get the stuff that I am after. Be ashamed to miss out on some extensive value just by virtue of quirks of AI priorities. 3 more French submarines destroyed. Excellent. Hello there. Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hello. Attempted Portuguese invasion. Just amphibious assault directly into port. Fortunately, Kruger is the kind of neighbor who will help you resist amphibious assault by imperialist aggressors. Some serious consideration take here towards to my capital ship. One hand, naturally, each successive one of these is larger and better and burlier and angrier. But I have to consider maybe then the most basic of them is good enough. All that production cost, all that resource cost will multiply up. And also that deck size. If I'm saving out for the long game, which I probably am, most of a year to figure out Arc Royal and Illustrious, which are on time for now. At which point it would be 43, and it would be close to just moving on to Implacable. Yeah, I think it's worth holding out. We will not need the boat portion of this until we're actually going on the offensive. This, too, is an investment in the long term. Probably just use a big old destroyer swarm for them. That has its flaws, but with a large enough destroyer swarm, we mitigate those flaws. Local aircraft. They are on ground support. They're on air superiority, but not on ground support. We have air superiority in the region, but aren't able to get particular ground support in. Let's fast track the airport in Tanzania, meaning to delay that naval base. definitely want a basic airport in every state so that we can just take our limited air force and put it wherever it vaguely decentralized fashion. Airports for everyone. Means all the republics will owe us for building them new airports. French defeated Poland, annexed Tanatuba. Country whose existence I am only aware of because it is featured in Hearts of Iron. Tiny. It was an SSR at the time of the wars. About all I know about it, it was here. Next, the Baltic states created Poland. This puppet Czech People's Republic tucked away up here. Mysterious. The convoy lost. Manpower tied up in a convoy. Well, I suppose I could reverse engineer that. 2,250 sailors in service right now. While one of our basic VW class destroyers has a 250. 150 and we have 9 of them, yet Navy manpower is just our warships. Right, Kruger has repelled the invaders. Good on you, Kruger. Why don't you just fan out and wind up and get ready to really give these guys what for? Time for some exercises. And there we go. There's another one of the big ones. We are beyond Weltkrieg. So dies Molotov-Ribbentrop. It did nothing for anyone. France. gonna go ahead and get a measure here. R says 100, but it caps at 100. Wondering, like, how many additional times over the world is on fire beyond full war. Speaking of attack plans, off here. All charged. Charged, armed. Could wait most of a year. Cannot believe. How will we live in a world without the Czech People's Republic? A generation of maps ruined. Okay. Been long enough that the Spaniards are ready to join a faction and join the war. And you're going to die soon, Spaniards. I'm sorry. You've probably made a horrible choice by doing this. After all we did, bring you into this world, you have chosen to leave it. Farewell, my son, Republican Spain. Remember you, Julio Ortega. Alright, we're still receiving that Turkish equipment. Some Turkish rifle and cannon. 500 rifle a month, 100, or no, that's totals we have received. 500 rifles and 170 guns. The quantities 260 and EVA. Which is not bad. That's appreciable. That's helpful. Those convoy lines are Turkish land police, or is that something they facilitate? More importantly, by doing this, we cut off the Suez to the Allies. All Allied boating now has to take the long way around either or if they want to go from Atlantic to Pacific. Finally, we've avenged the offense dealt to us. People found or built a shorter line to travel to get around the world. No longer. Deficit in India. Taken 2.8 and what? Some gun using template suffering outlandish quantities of attrition. I think they're all sitting around comfortably. You guys, some of you, well, okay, I'll allow. Kruger is getting a bit rowdy, going out for his drive. Let's put a stop to that. This exercise has gone on long enough. If you're wasting valuable quick-firing guns. Our land border with Turkey might suffice for that. Maybe we're just getting the equipment directly and then sorting it out internally. be it the hypothetical transcontinental giga railway we must be building. Oh, never mind. If I just built even one point of infrastructure here in Khartoum, we'd have a 3 running all the way up the continent. Not terrible. First, we have airports for everyone that needs to get concluded. Our pilot radars. Good luck, guy. Oh wait, an actual warship has shown up this time? British heavy cruiser Shropshire. That could be a problem. Or it might not. Let's see, maybe we're about to trade up. I mean, there's 9 of them. Only a couple of submarines. What do you think, guy? Try this? Do you dare? They have torpedoes. And they're disengaged. Cowards. Kruger stopped this. "12 days to drive down this mountain." Kruger, you know that vehicle has more than one gear, right? Not all situations call for full torque. one thing that could save us a lot of anti-aircraft. Oh no, I didn't even get a chance to give the garrisons AA guns yet. Never mind. There's still just 4 guys and a shovel. Perhaps someday. Over here. Just drive in there. Much better. Much nicer. Out of the hills. The woods. Have yourself a nice jaunt. Air Force is doing for like the operational losses. Suffering any air attrition in the field. I can immediately stop to any hypothetical loss on that front. Cool it for a while. These are back to normal in Damascus. Of the hurricane, this focus benefit to get hit fire, half cost. Then we miniaturize that into a Fulmar. Actually, well, that's a completely different vehicle, so we're just gonna kind of cross-research. That we will start building in number. That look compared to basic gladiator. Flying up until now. Wildly more expensive. The rare crew, range, much better everything else. Yeah, that would just be a straight improvement. We can just switch from gladiators to Fulmars and use Fulmars as our main fighter. That'll work. That's sensible. Fulmar will probably remain good enough going into the future. Time we're in a position to replace the Fulmar, all manner of things could have changed. Another comparison to make. How does the Whitley look to the Black Baron here? More aluminum. Less overall production effort as a small aircraft. Much faster. Tighter range. Very noticeably tighter range. We still have a use for the Whitley. Operating over distance. Or maybe not, we could still phase out production of the Whitley. Does the Typhoon look next to it? That's more competitive. 1,000-kilometer range. Can't strategic bomb, but we haven't been doing any strategic bombing. So we gain the ability to naval strike with it. This might be an upgrade worth just flipping over. Let our existing Whitleys just slowly make their way out of service. It's also still a less expensive aircraft. We're suffering for it right now, but that will change. That's because we lost all of our production efficiency. Introduction of dive bombers will be able to do naval strikes and thus able to, say, use our airports in Egypt and Sudan. Hunt for enemy submarines. Also, since we closed the Suez, this should be even more cut off from participation. Not getting any reinforcement through Ukrainian. And how are you holding up since you decided to fight the Germans? You managed to, like, recover it all from the Civil War? Yeah, looks like you got 1 million bodies. Sized war industry, 8 boats, 100 divisions. Perhaps you will live. That's still going to be its own production decline. I'll hold off on researching it. We're getting close to the end of the year. Is there anything quick I can grab? It'd be worth our while to hide information. The enemy didn't know what we were up to. That could be a thing. Invading Madagascar is probably the first attempt to project power. We can't figure out how to navy across this strait then we're never gonna get the greater reach necessary in order to go out and do some serious decolonizing. Madagascar, home to an unknown number of free Frenchmen. I think this crew and their attack is as planned as it's gonna get. Charged. Just give it a run. Let's see how the numbers look. Giving it that run. Birds. These guys. Let Ed Brink do his thing. Already dug in what it looks like. That out. Yeah, mechanics of combat, just some bit of talking as we watch this carry out here. The core exchange of stuff down here between units actually doesn't have any RNG elements to it. Aside from what target a unit chooses to engage. So the idea is your attack ratings here are an amount of damage, or rather a number of attacks that the unit will throw in each time segment of combat. Then on the receiving end, a defense rating is a number of attacks you can receive efficiently that will do like relatively small amounts of damage. Once more bullet is flying at you than you have defense, you start to take much more damage. For example, fellows here who have their 255, 129 damage, or defense. These are mountaineers who are throwing anywhere from 160 to low 40 or 50, depending on equipment distribution, situational modifiers, and so forth. The fact that I have a number of them that I do all together, these are throwing enough firepower to overwhelm their defenses and properly wear them down. Although in response, they still have their own attack rating that is getting thrown. Folks who have their breakthrough, your defense when you are attacking, that's pretty low on just regular foot infantry. Going to take plenty of hit in response in order to get this done. Units like armor. Buddy Kruger. Fair to all the people of the world. 70 breakthrough, even with just tiny baby interwar light tanks. Reasonably durable. Much more capable of safely advancing into a foe. And there we go. Months after the rest of the fighting concluded, there went the last battle. Phase 1 of the Counter-Imperial Crusade. Order is secured. Now we can rest. Rest, recover, rearm. Hang on. In the slightest. find other people to populate those other lines. Four, we can actually stack up on the line border, start planning the liberation thereof. Provinces to attack from, 2 provinces to attack into. 3 or 4, depending on how you count them. And they have no reserve manpower. Alright, so that'll be a pretty easy. Danger that we pose. Jump into an alliance. In which case they just enter the war that much sooner of their own accord, and then we roll over them and we'll be fine. Either French West Africa or Sierra Leone. Already? Angola and Mozambique have managed to establish appreciable local militia. Bit of a self-defense force behind at this point. They'll learn. They'll catch up with production targets once we've fed them more rifles. They've fed themselves more gun. Current production, we are getting 2 whole typhoons every month. He's growing nicely. Indeed, we have questions. Look how heavily militarized they are. We, a vast, peaceful brotherhood of a league spanning many peoples, have millions of population who are not at arms. Whereas here in Liberia, everyone is required to serve. Never mind the actual text of their laws, just look at the number. Look at how comprehensively they have forced their people into their military-industrial complex to serve foreign capitalist interests. wonder if it would switch land supply if I built that railway. Right now, that supply convoy is the only thing that puts any of my sailors at risk. They know how to take the train. British possible actual warship moving. But nope, just a. In the wrong map mode. And not command these soldiers as though they were a boat. It's against all laws of warfare. That's as much as I'll skim over to contribute to the attack plan, which our generals are already quite confident in. They're pretty sure they got this. There, I will put you over there. Of those. Alright, yeah, there's actually a good home for you. Not there, but instead. Bring him home, or do I... place I could stow Kruger? It's safely at home. Take too long to ship him across the continent in strategic terms. 4 more dead French submarines. Good stuff. get away with a smaller squadron. And enough boats that I could split the fleet and try to patrol a larger area. Find out. Just barely not having the range to actually engage up there. I have to upgrade that harpoon. Supply has become bad. Convoy damage, I guess. Hate that. They're continuing to sell me arms. I think that's a reasonable sign that they're not yet preparing to betray. Yeah. Eventually. Not now. Okay, despite some weirdness with the notation over there, our destroyers are able to get into the Red Sea. Slightly greater escort, and we will see. Have spare change in terms of political power. Let me pull another admiral out of the void. Just send a telegram up. Inform one of the captains that he's been promoted. Inform the squadron that one of their captains is now an admiral. Let them sort it out. I'm not going to micromanage this. Delegate. Encourage some initiative. That's just Dirk wearing a captain's hat. Dirk has gone to sea. So the interior plane is less expensive in terms of material than its matching regular plane. I suppose is to be expected. Not in the case of the dive bomber over there, but the fighter. That is smaller. Now it's smaller than our gladiator. Still, smaller. Four dead submarines. 6 more down. Have got this commercial defense thing solved. All figured out. a line on Cairo. Tell your reinforcements to go there. The event that they are ever finished. Production goal for how many more beach garrisons? Seven more ports to cover. Ongoing standard of a pair of these for each. 14 units. Clear the table there. Be deployed as they become available over the next permanent year of equipment debt. Well, actually, 80 days of cannons left. Days of anti-tank. Days of anti-air. 70 days of shovels. And we have trucks and tanks. Are real good at anti-submarine warfare. They just do not get scratched when we send them out there. We are only we're fighting basic subs with basic destroyers. Change has very consistently been no number of submarines can defeat a destroyer squadron. They know exactly what we're doing. Finally have our first radar up. Yes, for what little good it does. 20% coverage. Eventually, once you upgrade it, the bubble gets drastically bigger. The upgraded radar would give us pretty ability across the whole Cape Sea zone. We finish inventing all the other layers of radar. Current state, we're also getting 1.5k manpower back per month. Chance to add up some recovery. Did that. Go back to integration pressure. We're also going to get a lot more productivity going once we're actually able to lock down each of these puppets. The sooner that happens, the closer we get to having all of their numbers properly under heal. Hi, that's a big number. 22 of anything hostile doing. That's a buildup of enemy infantry. Nearby island, are you trying to have a day? I suppose I can split the efforts of our shipyards such as they are. Both fleets vaguely stocked. Up either mountaineering army. Consider them. Problem though is that it's extremely defensible terrain. Look at this place. Mountains, jungles, hills. Only one harbor right up here on the far end of it. Natural fortress. Decolonize that might go about as well as our opponent's efforts to decolonize, to prevent us from decolonizing them. Many sailors are in a basic submarine. Well, not directly in it. That also represents like shore crew and so forth. And folks back home who happen to also die if the ship gets destroyed. Crews are like that. They're very sympathetic to each other's plight. These we knock out, we kill another 200 English. At some point, once I feel a bit more confident in naval exploits, I'll actually bring a fleet. They'll probably station it in the Red Sea, but have it operate through the canal. Wait, our convoy production is keeping up. Current levels of damage. Well, that's okay. Time being, as we are still poor, I'm going to keep building the basic destroyer. Escalate to building a stronger model until we start facing opponents that demand higher performance. Eyeball and charge up and get ready to just storm all the next industry techs. Time for final industry. Or just factory. Hence concentration of buildings. The Germans, a bit of ground to the Russians. The Spaniards have not yet lost any ground. They're managing to hold. Folks. Guys, settle in here. This is your home. Essentially the way things are working out. In order to get into the position where I think we'd be able to reasonably build a navy, it'll be 44 or later by then. At least build a good force projecting navy. Carrier and other ship type research. This is investment. This is getting the science half of things out of the way. We'll be ready to start laying down hulls when we have shipyards to put them in. Occasion against Liberian Union, that'll help. Nice quick morale boosting victory. 70 days. Almost fully armed mountaineers in position, staring them down. Small part borrowed Turkish artillery. We're receiving all the... Yes, understand. Been fighting the Allies this whole time, or... They were neutral way back when I checked, or at least axis aligned, but uninvolved in fighting. Those guns for themselves, that's fair. If they fall, that will then create a vulnerability we'll need to respond to. Cancel these as well. Created some slices of pie. Enough that it feels like that would help deter ability, maybe? Who knows? Or dis... We got enough guns out of the Turks to refill our... Pretty sure. We're within like a quarter of filling most of our... Let's weigh the military prowess of the current. Is 1943 time of the season. Big growth over flexibility. There's not going to be much changing around to take the latest flavor of the month here. Once we set a line, it's going to be what it is forever. Description. 50 divisions in the field. One boat. One of boat. So industrially, they're kind of similar in weight to us. We've only been able to field a much smaller army than we have with that level. Mobilized, though. Besides Merchant Marine. But a fair assessment of the Turk is that they are a worthy foe that we will have to face hand in hand. Most... Well, we have to take them seriously, the Turk. Quite effective and right there. Their Axis, not active Rome, been dragged into the Russia fight? Not yet. Left neutral against Russia. Oh wait, well yeah, actually then, if they're Axis but not Rome, then attacking Benito will not get them involved. Alright, never mind. The concerns I was starting to talk up needing to prepare for don't exist. Or at least exist to a much lesser degree. My next plan of action is have to take out Italy. They have Ethiopia, they have Libya, and Libya is between us and freeing the rest of North Africa from French. Get over there, which means we have to go through them. There's the Fulmar, our shiny new, hopefully good enough for everything forever miniaturized carrier compatible fighter. Some more radar. We'll only add, in terms of resources, 1 oil per factory. We can almost handle with our internal refineries. In our refineries and our occupation of a bit of the Middle East. Price ultimately ends up being paid by the destroyer yards. Some time for that to spool up, but once it does... Cards. Bunch more garrisons actually for total additional ports to garrison. $18. That will be it and change. Also, if I have to shore up the miscellaneous infantry lines, I could assume command of the militia of the various republics and send them up. They're training adequate divisions. Been a while since the last submarine raid. At the very least, combat here in North Africa will be very narrow. Not much room for things to go out of control. Province is wide for the most part. It fans out much thicker when you hit Algeria and Morocco. On attacking Italy, Japan would come to help them, but that's very much a war on paper. They are busy fighting on land against the Russians and at sea against the English. Are they fighting the Rome? That might be the one line of violence that is missing. Allies versus Axis. Romans versus Comintern. Allies versus African Union. Axis versus Comintern. The Allies are not yet fighting the Romans. That is the one missing line of attack. Not yet completed the graph.
Beep.
And some more units over here. Really want to be very sure that this ends immediately. Absolutely drop a house on them. Nation, no mercy, no survivors, only freedom. Give us a chance to try out the new close air support plans. Full pilot squadron. Area is at this time allegedly entirely independent. We of course know better, that they remain puppets of foreign tyranny who must be cast off. People can be truly set free into the arms of brotherhood as represented by the Commune. Working on these numbers. All our Union fellows integrated any day. Hello. Hello, newly created Kenyan army. Yes. A single Congo division guarding Liverpool Hill. Good stuff. They're gradually putting themselves together. Given up on influencing American politics. 27% red, and I have little expectation that they will go. Given that they have already signed on to being on the other side of the forever war, it's a lost cause. Three bubbles that we have now. Innermost bubble, that's our old clusters. Largest bubble, that's our old dependable witness. Whitleys. And in between them, that's the capabilities of our dive bomber. Or we can reach. Or wait, no, we're making the... Yeah, that's our regular dive bomber that I'm making for now. Carrier variant will have a tighter range than that. Appreciably so. That's still enough number that we can work with that. Like widespread distribution of airports that we're managing to prop up. Should keep us flexible in that regard. New friends. We got you another tank. Building an army crew. Find you all new places to ride. Yeah, enough of just escorting. Let's try shooting back a little. Let's hunt. There's probably some number. Oh, hello. No, don't do that. What? When did you get here, HMS Glorious? What's up? Nice, fancy meeting you here. Don't do that. Flee. Do not be brave. The opposite of that. On the other hand, just had my tiny handful of dive bombers probably wouldn't be able to get through even the. Well, it's just 6 fighters there. Glorious is not a particularly big carrier. It's just basics, part of the first generation. Not even sure what quality of plane it's in. Really came all the way out here into Red Sea to fight my destroyers, 2 of which are already dead. In lighter news, death to the imperialist lapdogs of Liberia. These are just tiny. Will be no obstacle. Most of them are. This Type 8 seems to have more substantial equipment. Okay, I have regrets about declaring raids. Raids perhaps have turned out to be the worst thing I could have tried to have the Navy do. Wedge them back in a defensive role and never have them budge from their peaceful intentions again. British respond very poorly. Anything resembling a call-out to a fight. Escorts only. Counter-opposing raiders. We will not do any raiding of our own. Not yet. Not with this fleet. Not with... Wow, what a windfall. Look, see, look at all of that peaceful coexistence nonsense. Look at what they were scheming to do to us with these thousands of submachine guns. Alright, go to attack. Get 7,000 equipment 2, 7,000 artillery 2. What else we got in here? Weapon 1, basic weapon, 200 anti-tank cannons, and 130 merchant ship. Nice, nice, what a haul. For Liberty. Got in a whole bunch of freedom. Czech People's Republic wants to send me guns and shovels, sure. Friend. You got it. This is the suite that I expect to be able to wring out of each of our puppet states if they go through the full focus tree. Just a couple of these, all in good working order, high infrastructure, strong local air base. Additional points of industry beyond what I'm currently working with. But re-establish
Beep.
could be requirements now to justify. Step up naval production. And let's see, what else do I need here? Well, thanks to that loot, most of our equipment deficits were solved. Here, we need aircraft guns. The things I could be working on with my land factory. Well, since the Omar is going to be my main fighter, Equatorial Guinea here is currently property of Spain, yet to fall, and has yet to provoke my anger. Spanish bits are going to be left alone for a while. I kill you last, Spain. Attracted some bees. Whose bees? $300 of them, but from where? They're gone now. They just showed up and buzzed our airspace and wandered off. 300 is too big and clean a number for carrying. French airports. They could with a long-range aircraft too. Or off any of the islands. No airport. Over here. Oh, it's Sao Tome. No airport on Sao Tome. Very large airport at Casablanca. Question of if there some manner of fighter anywhere that could reach that far. Or who knows, it could have been a carrier route. A big fighter-focused one for some reason. Be an odd occurrence. Perhaps it was a very short-lived attack by surface planes operating out of Liberia. They have a sizable airport. We didn't seize any planes when we captured them, but during, like, the week it took to march in there and take the place, Allies might have tried to slip in some air support. What a haul, though. If we're able to topple any other minor countries that have just been stockpiling weapons quietly for the last 5 years, it's a whole lot of equipment shortfalls. We happen to have a good opportunity while we're passing by, just like colonize Bulgaria. Big guns in Iraq. $30 to 40 divisions, very small amount of industry to back them with, only like 24 aircraft, no reserve manpower. No navy, despite the presence of valuable boatyards. What if we just go get ourselves Iraq? Right there. Maybe is even less defended. So, potential targets. Italy first. We get the big one. We secure first order Africa before we start increasingly expanding our definition of who the African people are and what it means to unify them in brotherly workmanship. Five additional ports to the defense portfolio, surrounding lands. Need more of these. Four boats. First Italy. Additional oil. Whatever industry they've set up here. The rest of French Africa. So when we do that, we invite the possibility of renewed, well, we're engaging in renewed land conflict with the Allies. We invite the possibility of convincing the US they have somewhere they could drop their army of use, and then fighting a US army on foot. Africa, the North one. Campaign thereof could be quite extensive. Have to make sure we are very heavily armed. We may have to loot a couple more Liberias worth of good stuff. Type 2 cannons too, we just have a full set of improved artillery all over the place. Continue to only make garbage at the factories. An incentive. You want the fancy American cannons, you earn them. Bizarro American. What a haul. All this liberating. Do more like it, and perhaps, at some point, at very least, vacation. Pop open viewer here. I want to review how also some Portuguese in there. Oh, there was a raid on a harbor that we just didn't notice at all. Alright, so anyway, over here. Had an attack, which caused blows, because that's kind of how it goes. If you aggress, you will have to pay in blood. Very manageable amounts of blood, though. We spent 850 people in the entire attack. That's it. Less than 1,000 casualties to seize all of that equipment. 1 month of volunteers at current recruitment rates. Doing that will filter it down. Alright, here's the entire Liberian. Here's the entire Liberian front. Which we spent an additional 235. Alright, so yeah, 1,000 of our soldiers killed. Or there's an attack that went there. Nothing lost there, that was just a cleanup. 1,000 of ours. Nearly 5,000 of theirs across the spread. That quick moment, the whole thing was settled. Of our gear, but 600 of theirs, mostly, sadly, valuable submachine guns. Yeah, we figured it out. Good haul. Good tiny war. Good nice little pocket offensive. Ooh.